Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James and welcome back to the House of Warfare channel and episode 2 of our future Sub-Surface Warfare Frigate program. Some changes have been made since the last video. You can probably tell from the various different colour changes. So far, not a massive amount has changed. Just further on from the last video, I said that I'd changed the keel shape. I've done that now. So we don't need to worry. What I'll do is I'll just edit this colour there. So we don't need to worry about that. All I've done is the section that I said I'd delete, the 4x4 set of wedges and pyramids running along the entire length of the hull. I've done that now, and I've just raised the area where the props and the shaft is going to go. I've edited that to make it slightly more angular and make it go all the way up to the waterline. A couple of other bits above the waterline I've changed is in red. What I've added is little squares of blocks that is going to mimic where the weapons are going to go. So you've got the VLS, this big square here, the forward main gun, a couple of jimpies and or 50 cals are going to go up here somewhere, and then you've got phalanx or some form of closing weapon system, which I will add towards the end. I've also updated the main mast, so you can see here in the bright yellow, the long stalk is where the main mast I want to go, the integrated mast is where that's going to go, and then we'll just have a comms antenna here and possibly another comms antenna there. These purple blocks here, this is where the various openings, hangar doors and rib bays are going to go. So the rib bays will go possibly here, obviously subject to change. Hangar door is obviously in purple now as well, and then we'll have a little entrance walkway, sort of similar to the Type 45 destroyer, which has a gangway, a foldable gangway internally built in. A couple of other changes, I've also now added wedges. So the little blocky areas which we left in the last video, essentially they just look like that. I've added 1x4 wedges in each of those areas now, so it looks slightly smoother than it did before, without obviously using mods, which you can't really get the shape without using the mods really, or an XML pack, which I don't have at the moment. I've also changed the shape of the waterline, so this darker blue colour, this will be eventually painted white. So the full red section there that you see is going to be the dark grey colour. Just above that, the dark blue area, I'm going to change that to white, and then the blue and pinks are going to be merged with that Pusser's grey warship paint. I've also added a funnel now as well, so all I did is bring out the aft section of the forward superstructure, brought that out by probably about 15-20 blocks, and then folded it in as we did in the last video. Again, I've just gone for 1x4 wedges and 1x1 blocks to make this section raised ever so slightly, and again, you can't really get that shape without using mods, which of course I don't want to do. So what I want to do in this video is edit the shape slightly further, add some weight. We're going to get rid of the bright yellow parts, then we're going to go over to a new section of workbench and essentially just make all of these weird and wonderful parts. We're going to paint them, attach them to the vessel, then we'll probably end the video there, because each component is probably going to take a little while. So what we'll do is we'll have a look around and just edit the general shape of the hull. I'll probably add in the flight deck guards as well, and we'll take it from there. So first thing I'm going to do is probably remove these red sections here. So I'll just break one, break the hull underneath so it still keeps that shape that the red blocks had. Pretty simple stuff. Those of you that have played the game for a while will know roughly how big each thing is going to have to be. I'm not overly keen on the length, but since this is a relatively small build for some first timers out there, I'm just going to try and keep it as simple as possible. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to get rid of these yellow parts there like that. And again, same thing with the main mast structure. And then what we're going to do is I'll delete the green as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to how am I going to do this? What I might do is delete these two 1x2s here, and then in a colour we haven't used yet, I don't think I've used green, have I? No. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my 1x1 blocks, and I'm just going to pop a square in like that. I'll grab a robotic pivot, there we go. It's got to be a compact robotic pivot, otherwise you're going to get a pretty naff shape from it overall. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the positive arrow, you can see this section here, I want that to be facing the port side, just so when we come to add the flight deck railings in, it's not going to, you'll just have to put in a constant number and it'll do it for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure the positive arrow is facing to the left, and I'm going to bring it slightly further forward just so that the extra physics body is in line with the bottom of the flight deck door there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my 1x1 blocks, bring that all the way forward until we get to this 2x4 wedge there. Then what I'm going to do is delete this 1x2 wedge. What I am going to do is I'm going to turn the music down slightly. Grab my 1x1 blocks, grab another compact robotic pivot, make sure that the positive is facing left again, turn the music down again, there we go, now I can think straight. Grab my 1x1 blocks, come all the way to the end so that they meet in the middle. Then what we're going to do is merge the two rear ones so that they're the same colour, so they'll move as a pair and not move as one, not independently. Then what we'll do is we'll delete the green 1x1 blocks, grab our blue 2x4, pop that back in there, so we now have a really nice shape. And then if you so wish, grab our green colour again and come in with a 1x1 wedge. That way it closes off quite nicely. Now what we're going to do is grab our 1x1 wedge again and just bring that in there so it closes off the end of that pivot. Come on the inside, delete the 1x1 blocks like so, grab our 1x2 wedges and close off the gap like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start with some fences, or sorry, rails as they're called in game. And we're going to grab another colour that we haven't used yet. I'm going to grab this green. No, actually I'm lying, I won't. Have I used white yet? I don't think so. Have I used black yet? No. I'll use black and white. So what I'll do is I'm going to grab my the railing segment end, and I'm just going to pop one there. I'm going to pop another one there. I'm going to then come to the rear, and because we've got symmetry on, it'll mirror that to both sides as well. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to count 3 blocks and then place the railing segment middle after those 3 blocks. Then I'm going to grab my railing segment end again, miss 3 blocks, and then pop it there. So we have that really nice sort of gridded off look. I'm going to grab my railing segment extension, grab my white colour, and we're going to come in between there like that. So this is ultimately going to be the flight deck railings. We're going to just have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 by 1 set of railings. Then what we can do is grab our selection tool, and just by pressing the control key on your keyboard, hovering over what section you want to select. In this case, I'll be grabbing our whole railing section. You're going to click what you want to select, and then you're going to come over to your resize grid, and you're going to drag that down to the entire section that you want to select, just like I have here. Now if we go across like this, you can see it selects the entire bottom of the flight deck door. So to make our life easier, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab that and delete it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the copy button. I'm going to slide it further forward. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to slide it further forward again. I'm going to paste it, slide it further forward again, paste it, and keep doing this until, now I'm not entirely sure what measurement is on the flight deck, but if we've programmed it perfectly, which unfortunately I haven't, it might make itself there. If not, what we'll do is we'll exit that and we will, excuse me, we'll turn this down, delete that one there. Now what I'm going to do is, we'll come back to that rounded area later. I'm going to make sure I've got one of these selected, just one side. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to rotate it by pressing K. I'm going to pop it in the middle there like that. Come to the other side, do exactly the same. You can see I've left a gap here of 3 squares, or a 2x2 area. That way when we come to filling in this bit, it'll merge with the actual ship itself and it won't move. Or alternatively, you can just leave it blank and it'll still look relatively okay. So we're going to paste it there, then we're going to come just next to that, paste it again, just next to that, paste it again. Now you can see we've got an odd number of squares. So you can see we've got 7 squares, but obviously 9 for the railing. So what we're going to do is we're going to clear content after we've used it. We're going to grab our railing segment end again in black, of course. We're going to pop one segment there and another segment there. We're going to grab our railing segment extension, pop that in there like that, and this gap here leaves quite a nice area for us to put an ensign staff or some form of staff for our ensign, which we shall come on to later on. Now what I'm doing, as you can see, is just merging each of these sets of railings into the blocks connected to that pivot we put in earlier. That way, when it comes to folding the railings down, they all move as one uniformed entity and not individually. If you don't merge them, it's not a massive issue. All it means is that when you spawn the vehicle in, the railings not connected directly to the pivot are going to fall into the ocean, which obviously is going to cause problems and you're going to want to fix it. So once we've merged all the railings to the layer attached to the pivot, what we can do is grab our erase tool and delete. So you can see here each railing segment, so the end segment and the middle segment, are each connected to a green block. What we're going to do is, just to make this look slightly better, is the blocks connected to the vacant segment, so these 3 here, those 3 there, those 3 there, those 3 there, so on and so forth. You're going to delete those, because what we can do is, once we've got rid of all these little sections, same thing in the middle also, not quite like that, but like this. So erase the 1x3 section, and then the same thing there like that, and the middle one as well. What we can do is we can grab our wedge, our 1x1 wedge like we did before, in the same colour, is we can orientate our green wedge so that the space at the top, the squared off space, is facing upwards and the angle is facing towards the keel. What we're going to do is we're going to hold our left mouse button down, attach it to the pivot and drag it all the way to the end, and you can see that the blocks that we left on the square, instead of deleting those, we left them as the 1x1 block. It's missed the 1x1 block, so it's not going to make the entire length, these wedges. Instead, it's just going to make the vacant spaces. We also can see that the wedges are now that lovely green colour. It'll be the same on the other side, so you can see they're all connected to one entity. And what this is going to do, we'll do the same on the back here. All this is going to do is just make it slightly better looking, make sure it's not completely blocky. Now what we're going to do is, those blocks that we left vacant before, we're going to delete those now. So the blocks connected to the railing segment, the end and the middle, we're going to delete those on both sides like so. Same thing on the aft end there. Now what we're going to do is we are going to type in fuel, because we want this solid rocket fuel small boost, or the fuel tank, Then we're gonna rotate it so that it's horizontal. We're gonna grab a slightly different color, same green but just a different shade. We're going to ensure that it's connected to the pivot entity, and we're going to do exactly the same and drag it all across like that. In fact, I'm just going to do the same there like that. Come to the aft end, same thing again, and because it's all one entity, theoretically it should all look relatively the same. So you can see now that we've got a really nice shape for the flight deck railings. Now the part that we deleted before, I'm just going to grab that there like that. I'm going to make sure that the purple bits stay purple like that, and then I'm going to erase that part at the end just to give us a really nice uniform shape. I'm going to pop a 1x4 pyramid piece there. Now this is the perfect opportunity to talk to you about the sections that are going to be slightly more difficult. This is where the logic aspect comes into it. So I'm going to grab my 1x1 block, I'm just going to connect that there and make sure that this is the same entity as the rest of the ship, so this won't move when it comes to lowering and raising those railings. So what I'm going to do now is, in blue, which I think I've used, yes I have, so okay, we're going to scrap the blue, I'm going to grab a brown. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a switch box, and all this does is like the tracks, like train tracks, the signal, what we'll do is we'll press a button and it'll alternate between the two constant numbers that we'll set in a second. So I'm going to grab two constant numbers, whack those next to the switch box there. What I'm going to do is, because these are robotic pivots, they're not going to rotate as a 360 degree entity on their axis. Instead, what these will do is it'll rotate only 90 degrees on one side, so this positive won't go a full 180, it'll only go 90. So what we want to do is pop this in here like that, and instead we're going to go we're going to drag this bottom one to off, we're going to drag this top one to on, and when the railings or when the switch box is turned off, we're not going to change it. So what it'll do is this, where we've got it set now, is considered by the pivot and the switch box to be 0. What we're going to do is we're going to leave this one at 0 for now. We'll come back to editing it later once we've got the gist of what the switch box does. However, when we click this button here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a toggle button, pop that further forward. I'm going to connect the toggle button to the switch signal on the switch box. Now, what this means is, what we want it to do essentially is, when we click this button, it's going to send a signal to the switch box, and the switch box is going to turn these pivots so that the railings here go from 0, which is what they're at now, and fold out about 45 to 55 degrees, depending on what it looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the constant number that's connected to on, which is this top one here. We're going to grab our select tool, we're going to click that top constant number logic, and instead of 0 we're going to pop 0.55. So what this is going to do is it's going to rotate our railings on the positive axis, because we left it blank, we didn't put a minus in front of our number, and it's going to rotate the positive, or the pivot on the positive axis, by 55 degrees. So with that in mind, what we need to do now is, once we've got the switch box hooked up to the input, we need to take the switched value output from the switch box there and connect it to our robotic pivots. This way that we know the pivots are going to get the right measurements from this switch box. Once it's done that, we can edit the speed or the gear ratio, and at the moment I don't really think it matters. We can come to edit that when we start fine-tuning our logic. So right now what we can do is, I'm going to spawn this in just so I can show you what I mean when I say what the switch box is going to do. So we'll shift this back ever so slightly. I'm going to make sure it's not conflicting with the ground. Then what we're going to do is always make sure you save your work beforehand. So where is she? YouTube build tutorial. I'm going to whack that back there. I'm going to spawn this entity now. And you can see there she is in all her glory. She is still quite a big ship, but that's fine. You can see so far this is what we've got now. You can see the railings here are still at 0. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that we've got our infinite electric on, which I do. Perfect. And I'm going to press home again to spawn on the back here. Now, all going right, when I click this button, the railings should open up. So we're going to click this button now, and you can see, just like we asked it to, it has now rotated our railings on its positive axis, and they are open. And once we click this again, they'll close just like that. So you can see this is how they're going to work when we come to fully building the flight deck. I'll take this back to the workbench now so we can see it further. Now, for a stealth frigate, everything needs to be, well, for a stealth warship in general, everything needs to be angled. So having these railings at 0 isn't gonna look amazing. Now, what we know about these 1x4 wedges here is that they're on about a 0.2 to 0.25 degree angle. This 1x4 slit there, that's on a approximately 0.2 to 0.25 angle. So what we can do is the constant number that we left at 0, what we're going to do is we're going to pop a minus in front of it now. This is making sure that we grab the angle that's this way and not that way. So into the ship, not out at sea. We're going to leave the minus there, and we're going to pop in 0.25. So what this is going to do now is this is going to change what angle the pivots spawn at when we spawn the vehicle in. So this is at 0. However, once we spawn it in, theoretically, these railings should now be at the same angle, albeit slightly further forward. Should be at the same angle as these 1x4 wedges, so it'll look really streamlined, really slick, nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to save it again. Save it as the YouTube build tutorial. We're going to spawn it again, and theoretically, when I turn around, so look, you can see there, just like we said it would, if I can get it there. Just like we said it would, it looks like they're on a 0.2 angle, so we can adjust that as necessary. So you can see that they're at a really, really nice angle, and it still works. So when we come to press this button, it still rotates them on its positive axis. However, when we disconnect the button and turn it off, the railings come right up to the same angle as that. What we're going to do is we're going to change the 0.25 slightly, and we're going to make it 0.20. We're going to save it again, and I'm just going to spawn it again so we can test it. We're going to go all the way up to the flight deck, and boom, beautiful. You can see when we spawned it in last time with the 0.25 angle, the railings were a little bit shaky. That's just block colliders. They were probably colliding with these blue 1x2s here. Not a massive worry, we just adjust it ever so slightly. You can also see that gap that we left in here earlier is now slightly further closed than this part here. This is just because of the angle that we've chosen for the minus axis. Again, same thing, they still open and close the same way. However, what we're going to do is I'm going to fine tune this slightly more, and instead of 0.55, I might go, let's see, let's try 70 first. We're going to save that again. We're going to spawn it, and then when we press that button, hopefully the railings look like they, yes, there you go, beautiful. This is more for aesthetics. It won't really serve a purpose because nobody builds helicopters that are 4 blocks from the rotor. However, from a realism standpoint, the railings would go possibly even all the way down to sit snug against the hull of the warship, but we're not going to do that. I am quite happy with the way that this looks at 0.7. So we're going to close that now, take it back to the workbench. And now what we're going to do is leave this here like that. I'm going to make sure that all the sections that need to be done are done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase all of these purple parts. So I'm going to grab that, I'm going to grab that, I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to delete those. Same thing with the rigid hull inflatable boat bays. There, make sure you've got mirror on, otherwise you'll have to do this for the opposite side as well. I'm going to delete the purple parts mimicking the hangar door. Now you can see we've got loads of vacant space. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the internals of the ship. I'm going to grab our hull colour that we've been using, and I'm just going to drag each block down like this, just like that. I'm going to do exactly the same for the boat bay. Drag it down more like this, and what this is going to do is this is going to ensure that the ship remains a vacuum when we come to bring the doors in by one. So you can see I've just extended the lip that appears just here. I've done that for the hangar door as well. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab our 1x4 wedges, and where we place that first or last set of blocks, we're going to drag this all the way back across like that. Same thing for underneath. And then we're going to grab our 1x2 wedges, same colour or different colour, depends on what colour you pop the hull under. Grab our 1x2s, and we're going to do exactly the same underneath. Same detail here, we're going to pop that there, grab our 1x4 wedges, and we're going to pop that there like that. Same thing again with the hangar door. We're going to close all of this off, and just by doing that, ladies and gents, we've added a little bit more variation in the shape of the hull. So when we do eventually come to paint this, these little lips will be ever so slightly a different colour to the rest of the hull. Now what we're going to do is we're going to save this one final time. Now what I'm going to do is grab a new vehicle, and this will bring us our block. Now for those that don't know, Stormworks allows you to edit each individual block to be whatever you want. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to initially show you how to, or more so explain to you how to do it, because I tried to do this in the last video and my sound cut off, so there's no sound for pretty much the entire length of the second half of that video where the time lapse starts. So in fact what I might do is I might just do it for this video and pop in a little segment at the end that shows you how to do it. Because I'm using OBS, I need to stop the recording and restart it so that I make sure that my mic is still semi-functional. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop into my selection grid. In actual fact, I might have a mast saved up already. Nope, okay, not a problem. Instead, what I'm going to do is type in I am here, and one of my ships, I'm pretty sure, there we go. So frigate type 004, this is what our design is based off of. This was one of the warships that I prepared for a very, very old server of mine. And in fact, I don't like that design. So I'm just going to select my Type 26 frigate build, which is here. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to come into my replace color. I'm going to grab the same color as our hull. In this case, it's pink. Then I'm going to grab my selection tool like this. Boom. I'm going to select the entire thing like so, go all the way up. Then we're going to copy it. I'm going to load our, in fact, what I'm going to do, actually, yeah, we'll load the YouTube build tutorial. And here you can see our beautiful mast, which we're going to slap onto our mounting there, theoretically. Yep, perfect fit. Okay. So you can see our mast is quite nicely positioned onto the mast brace. We are going to need to merge the entity, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue. You'll just hit the the merge tool, you'll select the different color, select it, attach it to your hull, and it should be golden. Now what I want to do is I'm going to start designing a main gun for this warship. So I'm going to grab the red color from before, I'm going to grab my selection tool, I'm going to clear all content, I'm going to grab where I think the red starts, which is here, I believe. Yep, it's that one there. I'm going to make sure I collect the entirety of the red, which theoretically should be that. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to save the YouTube build tutorial just one more time. I'm going to grab a new vehicle. Now we're going to bring this to the center of this white block. I'm going to merge it. I'm going to have a sip of coffee before we continue. Lovely jubbly. Okay, so main gun. What I'm doing is I am actually going to delete that part. So main gun. I want it to be small, probably in the caliber of 76mm. And I kind of want quite a blocky design, quite an industrial design, something more akin to maybe the Chinese 5-inch main gun on their Type 055 class destroyers. So what I'm going to do is I want it to be controlled by WAS and D, or the arrow keys. So we're going to grab a robotic pivot. I'm going to make sure that I'm facing the right way. And then what I can do is I can delete all of this, so we just have, in fact, what I'm going to do is make sure that we're centered with that red part. Grab the robotic pivot again. Boom, like so. So now we have our base for the turret. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another color. This will be the same color as our hull. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to grab the purple color because we've now erased the purple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come out by 2 on both sides so that we have a 5x5 square there attached to the pivot. I'm going to delete the 2 corners, come in with the 1x1 wedges, and this is going to be the sort of turnstile for our frigate, or specifically the weaponry. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with some detailing. So I'm going to grab some ports. I'm going to grab the 1x1 fluid port, make sure the gaps are vertical, and this is going to sort of mimic the look of some form of turret cooling mechanism. I'm going to grab the handle now, pop that in the other gaps. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the same color that we've been building our hull in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make the general shape for our main gun. So what I might do is have it poke out slightly further forward, maybe slightly further out. I don't want a complete square, so what we might do is just leave it at that. Now I'm going to come up, I'm going to come across, and we're just going to make a beautiful little square. And now we're going to sculpt our weapon from this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this very top section and replace it with the 1x1 wedges. Now let's have a gander at the rough sculpt. Can I fit a 1x4 in there? I think I can. So we're going to go 1x4s there like that. Then I might go maybe a 1x2. Does that look a bit too scuffed? I think it does. Okay, we're gonna maybe let's try the 1x2s at a slightly different angle. That doesn't look too bad, I don't think. Maybe we'll go for the 1x1, so we still get that really nice angular shape, Come in with a 1x1, then maybe with a 1x2 up here. Maybe. No. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to come in with a 1x4 then in that case. Yeah, okay, nice. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to pop some 1x2 wedges here, like that. And then I'm going to delete the internal section there. I'm going to grab a 1x4, and then maybe I will just close it off there like that. In fact, why don't I grab a 1x2? That way we can sort of round it off at the top. Yeah, nice. We'll see how that looks once we start adding the actual guns into it. But I kind of like that so far. In fact, what I might do is bring this down, bring this across, and almost have it like two firearm braces there like that. And then what we can do, maybe even just have this come out by one there like that. Then we'll have the 1x4 there, and then there like that. Bring this out by one, and then have that go back by two. No, not too keen on that. Instead, we'll just stick with that, I think. Now, we need to clear a section out for the gun, so I'm going to delete the entirety middle section built at 3. I'm going to grab a pivot, again, a robotic pivot. In fact, can I delete the 3 sections there? I most certainly can. I'm going to grab our robotic pivot power, and I'm going to make sure that our positive is facing upwards. Stick a block attached to that physics entity, grab our heavy autocannon, pop it there like so. We're going to orient it so that we can stick a flexible autocannon barrel on it. I'm probably just going to move that back by one there like that. Very nice, just so it conceals this bit a little bit better. Now what we can do is really start to work on the design. So I'm going to come in with my 1x4 pyramids again, no wedges yet. I'm going to bring that back by one to smooth the area out, and then at the back I might just pop that there like that. Beautiful. Okay, now what we can do is the 2 blocks that we added to the 2 pivot entities, we're going to merge those with the cannon now so that they're all one entity. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my blocks, I'm going to go a completely different colour, hopefully one that we haven't used yet, which in this case will probably have to go a random. So I'm going to grab maybe that orange there, and I'm going to extend these all out by 1. And then we're going to come in with our 1x1 wedges, and we're going to go round here like so, like that, and then close that area off, close that area off. Beautiful. So we've got a really, really nice shaped sculpted turret. And then once we come to change these colours, it'll look really, really nice. In fact, what I might do is do the same for the parts connected to that section of the pivot as well, because we've angled this now, smoothed it out with the wedges. We should, he says, be able to smooth out both ends. So if we've done that right, it should all be blue. Yes, it most certainly is. So we'll grab our pink 1x1 wedge again, and you can see it just about clears this area. So we should be able to rotate the cannon and have this not collide with the pink. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make this look really nice. So I'm going to come forward by 2 with the blocks there. I'm going to grab my 1x2 pyramids and just pop that like there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my 1x2 pyramids again, and in fact what I might do is bring that there like that, and then just have the 1x1 wedges like that. Yeah, I quite like the look of that. Very, very nice indeed. Now what we can do is we can really start to decorate this turret. So at the top here, I'm going to break those two, and again at the bottom, that's not how you spell ladder, there we go. I'm going to rotate these ladders horizontally, and then this one vertically and outwards. So that just leaves a little bit more design for one's eyes to look at. Same thing at the back there. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to have a look at the general shape. Now, how far back does that go? I think we'll be able to clear that. So what I might do is I might delete these there like that, that, go all the way back. Same thing there, there like that. Now, what we might be able to do is just angle it ever so slightly, depending on how this looks. I might even just keep it with the flattened area. So we're going to bring that up like that, and then grab our 1x1 wedge, or 1x1 pyramid, and bring that down like that. I don't know, it looks kind of weird, actually, with that there. So we'll close that off and close that off like that. I don't know, it looks kind of sad. What do you think? I'll save it. What we'll do is we'll do YouTube Frigate Gun 001. So we'll save that variant, and then I'll erase all of this work there like that, and then I'll save that as YouTube Gun or YouTube Frigate Gun 002. So in the comment section, type in whichever variant you think will look good. I'll trial them both on the frigate, and we'll see how we go from there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to continue building this as if this variant of the gun is going to be the final one. And then what we can do is just extend the barrels out like this. And really, like, the length of the barrel will solely depend on what you want. That's completely your decision. I am just going to change that because I don't like the angle. There we go. The length of the barrel will solely depend on what you want. Same thing with the muzzle brake. So, I mean, you've got an obscene, collection of muzzle brakes there. So we might even go with that one. And in fact, I might. How does that look extended by another one? No, it's a little bit long for my taste. So we'll leave it at one barrel extension and the muzzle brake there. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to come to the bottom like this. Got nothing else, and I'm going to add some weight blocks. That way we can just add that little bit more detail to the bottom of the gun, and I'm going to save that to the square one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load our YouTube build tutorial, take off the scenery section, and then I'm going to fill this in like that. I'm going to grab our, has that selected? No. I'm going to grab our YouTube frigate gun number 2, and I'm going to stick this back here like that. I might even build a little platform for this little dude to sit on. Let's see, where can we go out to? So that's 7 there. Is that going to be enough? Maybe extend it up by 2. In that case, we'll get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of that. And then we're going to pop that in like that. How bad does that look? I don't know. I also now kind of don't like the shape of the back of that gun. The only danger is, because I'm trying to keep this as semi-realistic as possible, yeah, it's a bit of a weird shape, isn't it? What if we picked the first iteration of gun? How does that look? I don't know. We'll stick with the square gun for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit pretty much the entire section of this hull. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to time lapse this section, and I shall meet you back once the bow has been done. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Now, the hull edits have been done. You can see I've just extended the bow slightly further forward and popped in a raised platform for our main gun. Now, this may be subject to change just from an aesthetic standpoint, because I'm not entirely sure I like how far the main gun is placed forward, but again, subject to change. It's not a massive worry now. In fact, what I might do is, no, I'll keep that there for now. Okay, so next, I might actually, yeah, I'm gonna pop in some handles there, like so. Very, very nice. Now, next real business is painting. So what we're going to do is I'm going to come into the world view there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my paint. I'm going to click the replace color icon. That way, when we select a color, for example, if I were to select pink with the green, I click pink and it turns the pink green, like that. So what we're going to do is work from the very bottom up. Now, I'm going to leave these a different color, leave these a different color, because these markings, these ones here, are just where the mock stabilization system is going to go. It's going to be purely aesthetic. We're going to use some rudders and some keels for the stability system. This is where the prop shaft is going to come out of, and this is where the rudders are going to go. So what we're going to do now is color it piece by piece. So we're going to select the replace tool again. I'm going to work from the ground up, and as we stated before, this red is going to be grey. Now, I'm hoping that by doing that it didn't change anything else. No, it doesn't look like it did. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this red and I'm going to make this dark red the light red. So again, theoretically, nothing has changed. Nope. But all this does is make this stand out more, so I can get the rough placement for them towards the end. Now what we're going to do is work up slightly further. So this dark blue line, as we said before, is going to be white, like that. So this is going to be where the water sits. This white line is going to be where the water sits. Next is the blue section. So I'm going to come into here. I'm going to grab my Pusser's Grey there. You can see So we've got the top slider at 194, the middle slider at 208, and the bottom slider at 214. This gives us this really, really nice blue colour. So we're going to select the lighter blue there and the pink, and we're going to make them that colour like that. We're also going to grab this yellow and we're going to do exactly the same. This is just the colour that's going to stick with the mainmast. For the gun should be a very, very nice blue as well. And then this inner orangey bit, I'm going to grab my sort of beigey colour. You can see the top slider is 144, middle slider is 128, and the bottom slider is 106. And that's a sip of coffee. Now we're going to come in to this orangey colour. We're going to click that, and that's going to be really, really nice. Then what we're going to do is, there was a little section of colour that I think I just missed. Maybe not. I thought I had. Yes, I did, the green. So now the green is going to be, so where we've got this, I want the green to be this really nice grey. So you can see there, it's only an ever so slightly different colour, but the difference goes a very, very long way. Now the darker green for the sort of mock-up mechanism for the railings there, we're going to make that a darker grey. In fact, what I might do is the lighter green, I'm going to make that the darker grey, and then the darker green, I'm going to make that a slightly darker colour. Yeah, that works a lot better. Then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our grey, we're going to come to the black, and I'm going to change those to, in fact, no I'm not, yes I am. I'm going to change that to the grey, and then the white section there, did I make those white? If I made those white, that means that's not gonna work, is it? So in fact what I might do is I'm going to change these individually. I'm going to paint these individually like this, because if we were to replace this white colour with another colour, i.e. this dark grey, it would change the waterline colour, and it's quite finicky to get the right angles should I forget where they're placed. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint all of these, and it should mirror onto this side. Yes, it has. Beautiful. And we're just going to paint these middle sections there like that. Nice. Okay, so we've got some really, really nice railing colours. Now we're going to move on to the deck colours. So keeping in mind that there are gaps here, what we're going to do is we're going to grab our plain fill, and we're going to grab, what colour would suit this? I'm thinking this sort of grey, maybe this grey. No, I think it needs to be a darker grey. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this one, maybe. Pop that there. Yeah, I think this is going to be the one. Very, very nice. Maybe that as well. No, we're going to keep that there. Okay, what about the bridge? No, I think I prefer it like that. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so we've got our deck colour. Now what we're going to do is we're going to paint the inside of the funnel, because that's got to be done as well. So we'll grab our Huss's grey, come down like this, across like that, and then maybe there like this. Does that look good? Yeah, that looks alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our really dark grey. We're going to come in here and not using the fill, because if we use the fill, it will change the colour of the inside of the hull, and we don't want that yet. Next we're gonna do this section, and we still have the mirror tool on, so you'll be able to see in a moment that that the sides on both ends are the same colour. We're also going to grab the underside of this like that, and then the 1x4 wedges on their inside as well. Then we're going to grab the plain fill, we're going to pop that there. We'll be able to do that because nothing else is on the same level as this. We do the same here and the same here. and exactly the same is going to happen. You can see very, very beautiful shape, and in fact I've just noticed that I've missed these little sections here, so we're going to come in and place those down like so, and same thing here. No, that's wrong. Same thing there. Beautiful. Okay, have I missed any more? I don't think I have. Nope, maybe I'll just grab that there as well, make it really nice and smooth. I do that, do you reckon? Or if I grab a 1x2 now as well? No, not too keen on that. Not a massive worry. We have the general shape of our warship now. We have the weapon or the main gun installed. We have it coloured very, very nicely. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change the colour of these. So we're going to grab that lighter grey, and just as I said we would before, we're going to change the colour there. So when we get rid of the grid squares, they're going to look really, really, really nice. So that might do it for this video. I think in the next video what we'll do is we'll start, I want to do like a little cinematic of the ship rolling into the water, so we'll probably do that at some point as well. I might do that as a separate video, or I might do that as the intro to the next video. However, I will decide that at some point. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for part 2 of our future Sub-Surface Warfare Frigate video or series, and I will catch you in the next one. Stay tuned, and thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.